Day 11 of Green Bay Packers training camp is here. The second practice this week in a stretch of 3 straight practices here in week 3 of Green Bay Packers training camp. We're getting very, very close to the first preseason game where we can finally see all the new players, rookies, and free agents in live action versus a real defense. Very, very excited about that. But of course, I have some highlights from day 11 of Green Bay Packers training camp for you guys to react to and break down. Make sure to go click the subscribe button down below if you happen to be a new viewer to stay in the loop with everything Green Bay Packers through this entire training camp. We post highlights and takeaway videos from every single day of practice. So go click subscribe, turn on post notifications to not miss anything on your Green Bay Packers. All right, so let's dive right into it. And first, we're going to go over a couple of different clips from yesterday's practice as well, because sometimes other clips come out, just like here from the Green Bay Packers themselves. A nice cinematic shot. Shout out Ethan Bacon, definitely the one filming this one. I love that the Packers are releasing clips like this. We saw this clip yesterday. If you watched my highlight video on day 10, it was that deep touchdown. I think it was a 55-yarder to Romeo Doubs, and that's the most emotion I think I've seen out of Romeo Doubs in a very long time, which is great to see. But this was definitely the play of the day yesterday. Wanted to show you guys this in case you didn't see it already, because you love the cinematic view. The great spiral, the great throw by Jordan Love to hit Romeo Doubs in stride. What a great hands catch by Doubs as well. Just makes it look seamless for that big touchdown. All right, quickly, one more clip from yesterday before we get into today's warm-up clips and a couple 1v1s that I have. And this is going to be Jordan Love firing to Matthew Golden at the top of the screen on a quick post route after a play action contested catch situation. Golden gets upfield. Look how seamless Golden switches the ball from his left hand to his right hand to the outside side. It just looks so seamless. You barely notice that it happens. Nice catch in stride. Nice rhythm throw by Jordan Love. Him and Matthew Golden just continue to connect again and again in camp, and they really are building this rapport. And Jordan Love, today I saw an interview. He was basically asked who was the most impressive person on the offense so far in this camp, and without hesitation, he said Matthew Golden. You know, he has strong hands, he's a great route runner, and he has elite speed. Here's a clip of the starting offense going through walkthroughs at the beginning of practice. I wanted to show you guys this because you could see Rasheed Walker. He has also returned to practice with his groin injury. We saw Rasheed out the past couple of days. Jordan Morgan has been taking all of the starting left tackle snaps in place of Rasheed Walker, and it is an open competition right now. We saw Jordan Morgan kind of struggled during family night. Yesterday, he had a much better practice. He started out today's practice a little rough, getting beat by LVN yet again. Just another great sign for LVN, but also with a false start. But nonetheless, Rasheed Walker is back. I think he's just limited. They're just easing him back into things. But I'm excited to see both these guys battle it out here at left tackle, and may the best man win for 2025. Creating a good offensive line is all about putting the best 5 guys out there to protect the most important position in football, that is Jordan Love at the quarterback position. Here's a clip of the starting defensive backs all going through a drill. From left to right, we see Pt.2, Valentine, Javon Bullard, Xavier McKinney, and Keyshawn Nixon. There's been a lot of talk about these defensive backs after yesterday's practice, as we saw, of course, some 1v1 clips of Javon Bullard getting beat, Keyshawn Nixon getting beat by Matthew Golden. And I'll say this, I'm not as worried as some people. 1v1s are catered for the offensive player to win. It's very hard to defend as a defender. When I show 1v1s and it's Matthew Golden running a perfect diamond release and beating Keyshawn Nixon, more so is about the hype of Matthew Golden and how he attacked that inside leverage and did it perfectly with a diamond release and beat Keyshawn Nixon. It's not really a slight against Nixon. I still have high hopes for him as cornerback 1 of this defense. I know some people don't, and we just got to wait for the season and see how it plays out. But Keyshawn Nixon definitely came to today's practice with something to prove, because he had a really nice day of practice. I'll show you a 1v1 rep against Golden. He got back at him today here right after this clip. And then Javon Bullard, Matt LaFleur talked about him before practice today, saying, you know, you might see some 1v1 clips of him getting beat, but he's done everything well that we've asked him of him. And, you know, another thing with that is Javon Bullard's not going to be in too many man-to-man situations at least like a slot fade like we saw yesterday against Jaden Reed. He's not going to be tasked with that too much. He's a mainly zone defender, and that's what he's good at around the line of scrimmage, a zone defender defending against the run, and that's going to be his role, right? Can he get better at man-to-man coverage, and should he? Yeah, he definitely should, in case, we have to have him do that. And then also, if he gets better at that, then he can be a more versatile player. But Javon Bullard around the line of scrimmage is going to do exactly what the Packers need him to do. Be a zone defender, short yardage situations, right? Get after the quarterback in cases, stop the run, guard up and cover up tight ends. I'm not really worried about it. I'm just excited for this season to finally get here so we can see how these defensive backs start to shape out. All right, so now let's get into the few 1v1 clips I have for you guys today. Again, a big shout out to Dalton for providing these 1v1 clips. Massive, massive thank you to allow us to see these clips. So W Dalton yet again. And here's a rep of Keyshawn Nixon versus Matthew Golden on a 9 route, and Nixon does an excellent job keeping pace with Matthew Golden here, who's a very fast player, and you would expect a lot of the time for Matthew Golden to win reps just running a 9 route against someone like Keyshawn Nixon. But what Nixon really does here well is use his boundary to his advantage, right? Force Matthew Golden to have a smaller area to work with, right? He's playing man coverage, of course, as a 1v1, watching Golden's hips and eyes to make sure it's not a comeback, a double move. And then once he realizes Golden's eyes float up back towards the football, which is what Nixon does really well, is get into the chest of Matthew Golden, get his hands in there, and knock that football out. Like I said, Nixon came to practice today with something to prove, which you love to see. You love to see the demeanor, and he had a really good rep here against Matthew Golden, who got the better of him yesterday. On this rep, it's already kind of started, but it's going to be Ben Sims running a corner post against Xavier McKinney, and this is just another, and he drops it wide open, which is crazy. But this is just another example of 1v1s are tailored to the offense. If you're running a corner post in a 1v1, there shouldn't be any reason why you don't get open. It's pretty much of an illegal move in my eyes in a 1v1. An illegal route is a corner post or a zig or a return route, something of those sorts. Like, you should get open every single time, and the fact that Ben Sims got so open against Xavier McKinney is very telling here. You got to come down with that, though. Sims is right now my 3rd tight end on the roster, and if he makes plays like this but drops the football, man, it's not going to be long before he's replaced as the 3rd tight end on the roster. Romeo Doubs versus Pt.2 Valentine, also running a 9 route, just like we saw Golden versus Nixon, but in this case, Romeo Doubs does a great job creating separation against Pt.2 Valentine. The ball definitely should have been placed farther out there and sooner. Doubs kind of has to wait up for it, kind of slow down a little bit, but yet still has so much separation on Pt.2 Valentine. I love seeing both these guys go to work, go to battle. Yesterday we saw a couple reps where Doubs won one. Valentine had a excellent coverage on a deep out route in the back of the end zone, and now we see Doubs here today. I mean, he's been phenomenal in the deep games thus far in training camp. We saw that long touchdown I showed you earlier today from yesterday's practice, and that's not the only plays he's made. I mean, he's been a primary target for Jordan Love, and we know he is. He's a guy that Jordan Love can trust, knows that he'll be where he wants him to be at any given time, and he has very, very sure hands, and he impresses you. He's a quiet receiver that just impresses you, and he's underrated, and a really good rep here by him on this 9, just beating Pt.2 Valentine deep. Here's some more Doubs versus Valentine, and again, just love seeing these guys battle out. A little bit of a hezzy double move by Doubs, underthrown ball, Valentine and him remaining physical. You love the mentality there as well, the energy at the end to basically show Doubs, hey, I'm still here, but then help him up at the very end. You know, those two are definitely, having a laugh about the 1v1s and the battle that they're having at camp. Love to see both these guys go to work. Valentine's getting plenty of work now that Hobbs is out, likely until, week 1 of the regular season. Just a nice rep here by Valentine right after Doubs won the deep route. Here's yet another one, Valentine versus Doubs, and man, I just love how physical Valentine is in man-to-man coverage, and you can see why the Packers like him so much. You could see why Jeff Hafley wants him on his defense, and he's a starter quality cornerback in my opinion. You even see Doubs hand fighting, pushing away on his face mask. Doubs is a physical player as well, and I love that Valentine can just show up to a 1v1 rep and just match any type of physicality here. Lots of hand fighting. In a game, I think that goes at least a ref crew that is allowing the receivers and defensive backs to play, which we see in a lot of games. Some people watch these 1v1 reps and go, oh, no matter what, that's a hold, or that's OPA, that's DPI. A lot of these ref groups in the NFL, man, they allow these players to play, the receivers and defensive backs to hand fight like this. So you love to see it from both players here. And of course, we have another clip of Javon Bullard getting beaten 1v1 on a slot fade, and it's McCall Hardman. Again, I talked about it already in this video. Bullard's not going to be tasked with this very much at all in a game sense. Covering up, press match against a fast receiver out of the slot, running a slot fade. Can he be better at this? Yeah, for sure. 100%. Would I like to see him get better at covering man-to-man, especially if you're going to be a nickel defender in this defense? Yeah, I think having that versatility would be great. But, you know, McCall Hardman has tremendous speed, and that's what you look at here. It's just absolutely, you know, torching over the top on an easy, you know, would-be touchdown in this situation. This next rep is a Bo Melton rep, and it's going to end up in an interception versus Julian Hicks. Does a nice job sticking with Hicks on this stop route. Ball definitely could have been placed more outside. Melton was actually pretty much given this one, but still to be able to track that, remain physical at the top of the route here, and get away with that interception there is really nice for Bo Melton. This is a guy that, you know, switched positions, is learning a new position, and you love to see him every single day putting in the work to get better at that position, right? He looks very physical. Like there's been times where he's been a little too physical and he's gotten away with a hold and maybe gets a little tug of the jersey there at the top of the route, but that's just two players hand fighting it out, being physical at the top of the route. And that's a nice play by Bo Melton, who obviously has great hands. Like if the ball's coming his way, he's going to play it like a wide receiver. He's going to attack it like a wide receiver. And that's what's great about Bo Melton. Just a really nice rep here by Bo. Nice to see him putting in the work. Another rep here of Golden versus Nixon. The same exact route we saw yesterday. Nixon with inside shade here. And Matthew Golden trying to run a diamond release, but this time Nixon all over it after getting, you know, pretty cooked on this same route yesterday. You love to see Nixon come back here and guard it very well. It's just a tremendous catch by Matthew Golden as well. This is perfect coverage by Nixon and an even better catch by Matthew Golden. So even when he's blanketed running the slant route, he's still physical through the point of catch, able to maintain strong hands and bring that thing down into his body and away from Nixon's arms trying to knock that thing out. But nice recovery here by Keyshawn Nixon, whereas yesterday we didn't see the same type of thing. And this is why 1v1s can be so inconsistent as well, but a good rep by both players. So those are all the clips I have from day 11 of Green Bay Packers training camp. I hope you guys enjoyed the highlights from today's practice. Go click subscribe, click the like button, leave a comment down below. It supports the channel a ton. We'll be back at it tomorrow for day 12 of Packers training camp. So make sure to come back to the channel to check out all the content that will be coming out. Really appreciate you guys coming by. I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.